Before we get to your scheduled video, please remember that likes and comments tell YouTube to promote our work to other people, and subscribing to the channel tells you when something new drops. You can also head to the link tree in the description to peruse my books, join us on Discord, or support us on Patreon. You can get episodes of Journey of Wrestling and Violent Profiles early, as well as a load of other treats. Even just $1 a month earns you a name drop for being cool. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the show. Greetings and salutations, my fellow cuboid chickens. It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined as always by the boy.
Hey.
I forgot to open the list. Let's see if we can do it live. We need to talk about who's cool.
Sans the list of things written down. What will we do? How will we survive?
We won't. We'll just die.
Cool. Rob, Passion Killer 711, Distru City KTL, a guy from Ohio, Harmony.
On the tip of your tongue, ironically.
Yep.
And, man.
PD?
Not DG. Man, I'm gonna have to open the clicky-clacky list. Hold on. It's clicking and it's a-clacking. This is the satisfaction you people asked for with your kindness and generosity, and I thank you for that. Two Nerds Podcast.
We almost got there. It's 7. 7 is the limit.
It is. I just couldn't... Well, I had... So, ironically... I wrote it down. DG, I was right.
You were right.
I got it anyway.
We got it. We did it.
I wish I had that level of enthusiasm for Forbidden Door 2024.
I liked it.
Well, you're a pleb.
Yep.
I do not mean that genuinely. What Forbidden Door is, and I think we talked about this last year, because I think I came into this show just as grumpy, even if I didn't leave it as grumpy. It is a spectacle event. It is a wow, guys I like from this fed that I watch all the time, and guys I like from this fed that I watch all the time are going to kiss and or wrestle. And that's good enough. It's not good enough for me. I like stories. And after all these years, I've just now noticed the logo is Doctor Who, and that makes me even more upset.
You can't prove that's not the theme song.
I can, but I won't.
That's the same! So, I don't watch New Japan. Or Stardom. Or CMLL. Or AAA. There are talents from all of those feds in this show. On this show. I only watch AEW regularly. So for me, it is not the Marvel DC crossover event that it is for some other people. For me, it's just guys I watch and guys I vaguely know about because of the internet or have seen on previous AEW events fighting. Not really for many reasons. They're just doing a wrestle. And sometimes, if the wrestling is cool and good, that's enough.
Not for me. It's just, this show is so empty.
It's advertisement, right? It's
yeah.
Well, so it's actually, in a way, that's the weird thing is it's kind of the reverse of the typical pay-per-view wrestling model. The pay-per-view is the meat. It's the meal. They've been advertising to you to buy the meal. So when you get to pay-per-view time, you get the good food. Forbidden Door is an ad. In and of itself. It's an ad to get you to watch the other feds. Whichever one you don't normally watch, it's an ad to get you to watch it. So, there is a hollowness there.
Yes. And I get it, and I get why it's interesting to other people. It's just not interesting to me. I don't...
if I wasn't interested in... if I wasn't actually bought into one storyline and, interested enough in what was going to happen with one other match on this card... I probably wouldn't have bought it, and if I wasn't interested in watching it, there is a 0% chance this guy would have.
100% I would not have.
Yeah.
We would be podcasting about X-Men 97 right now. I don't like being a Debbie Downer, but, you know how you guys can subscribe to our Patreon at, the $15 tier, I want to say, to tell us what to podcast on? More tiers coming in the future for longer crap for me to have to do. I'm going to be honest. you are asking me to review this, and I'm gonna try not to be a dick about it, but, like, this is something I would not have watched on my own. I was able to because of the kindness and generosity of my friends sharing their bounty, but, like, I didn't think I was gonna like this, and guess what? We got there, and I didn't like it. You know, and it wasn't like it was bad. It was just not for me. It was all of the action of wrestling, all of the environment of watching sports in a pub with your mates, except that, ironically, for this event, half of my mates had other things to do. And I was just alone in the pub with my pal right next to me. This so lonely. You don't want to watch sport with your mate. Unless it's like a sex thing, and it's not.
Well, some of those matches would beg to differ.
Oh, I meant you and I.
No, certainly
yeah,
not.
That's not... like, that mate, you know, is... Anyway. That's the spoiler-free review I have. It's hard for me to go any deep. If you love the spectacle of wrestling, especially technical wrestling, this is a fine program to watch. If you don't need story, or if the most bare bones famous man versus famous man is good, if you watched Hobbs and Shaw, go for it. This is your pay-per-view.
I would say if you if you like New Japan, you'll like this because those are the stories they do anyway. If you prefer your wrestling more on the side of fancy MMA in like curlicue font, where that's the presentation and that's mostly what's happening. It's just this guy and this guy are both really good at fighting. They're gonna fight. We'll see who wins. If that's the presentation that you like, you'll love this. If you like wrestling stories, if you consider them an important part of the medium, but you can enjoy a show that is basically just a spot fest, whether that is a spot fest that is a like literal like classic technical clinic, but it's a spot fest because there's no underlying story really.
A series of spots, if you will.
Yeah.
Hitting the beats.
If you like good, solid mechanical wrestling and story, but you're willing to drop one for the other, you'll probably still like this. There are wrestling shows I've liked in the past where the wrestling has been, frankly, mid, but the stories have been completely on point, and that's been enough to carry me. This is like the inverse of that. The stories were at best mid, mostly less than mid, sometimes just straight up non-existent. But the matches were almost all really good.
I don't agree with that. I thought I was falling asleep through 75% of this pay-per-view.
I would say that's more to your lack of interest rather than a lack of quality in the matches.
Is that not the fault of the promoters of the pay-per-view? It's
No.
not like I'm petulantly over here going, what? Naito's in a match. I'm going to protest.
No, not really. You came to a party that was serving food you knew you wouldn't like, and then you didn't like the food. Like, that's not on the people who put the food out.
I mean, I guess in that sense, but like, it's not. That's my review. It's a weird part of this format because we do try to be positive. I'm stuck here having to say untoward things because I had an untoward time.
Let's run down the matches.
I don't know if we have enough time for that. This is only a half-hour show. Sometimes we'll go to an hour.
All right, let's do it quickly.
I'm mostly joking. It's a very long show. Okay, so if you guys watch our Journey of Wrestling stuff, which you can get episodes a week early by subscribing at the $1 tier on the Patreon, we make jokes now, running AEW, that we have to fill out the entire pay-per-view card we're allotted with random crap, because that's what AEW does on their pre-shows, and it's been a joke until now, where, surprise, we had a match between Kyle Fletcher and Serpentico on the fucking pre-show card.
booked Serpentico this month. Didn't want him to take a negative.
I mean, Kyle Fletcher more likely, but yeah, basically.
It was 3 minutes. Like, it wasn't the biggest deal in the world. I'm not sure why it was there.
Yeah, I would have rather had more of the analyst desk.
I don't know. It just would have been 3 minutes of a video package, brother.
Maybe. But they used to do more stuff. They used to let the analysts talk more. This time the analyst desk was introducing the analysts, running down the card once, and then a prolonged bad shoe ad.
Yeah. The card was too stacked for anything else.
With quality matches.
Like 3 minutes, Kyle Fletcher beating the shit out of Serpentico. You know Serpentico is in dire straits because the little thing in his production truck, like his little nameplate, said, actually won his last match.
Well, he's mostly retired. Like, he's mostly a trainer now. So, I'm not upset about Serpentico losing. I'm not upset about...
That's just the only thing I remember about the match.
Yeah, I know, it was nothing. Serpentico shot his pest threads, and then Kyle Fletcher won, as far as I was concerned.
We've literally taken almost the amount of time of the match talking about this match, so let's move on.
Yeah, Roderick Strong and Gabe Kidd, Private Party, Kyle O'Reilly, and Tomohiro Ishii fought the Kings of the Black Throne and lost.
It's right call. Don't know why the Kings of the Black Throne are on the fucking pre-show, but they definitely should have won this match, and they did. Good job. Correct maneuver. I am very frustrated, always, about the booking of the House of Black.
I get that there have been definitely, and probably are otherwise, backstage reasons that they're booked so underwhelmingly, but I am also tired of it. It makes me not want to believe in them.
They are the coolest faction in AEW.
They haven't quite been Wyatt family'd.
No, certainly not. We got a long way to go before the Pitch Black match.
But they're not, it's not looking good, Cap.
Like, they should be strong and cool and dominant. And they almost never are.
Yeah, I don't get it.
They won this match, so I'm glad about that, at least.
It's a start.
Unless I say otherwise, assume all of the wrestling that happened was actually quite good. I will mention when I have an actual complaint about the wrestling.
I wrote it down in the Discord. There were only 2 matches that were memorable enough for me to have anything to say about the wrestling.
That's fair.
Everything else was average. Chris Statlander and Momo Watanabe were pinned, I believe, by Willow Nightingale and Tom Nakano. Or Tam.
I think it's Tam.
I don't remember. They were both really cool, the Stardom stars that I'm not familiar with. It would be nice if I got to see them do other things that didn't cost me $15 a month. At least I don't think it's on a specific day of the month that I have to subscribe anymore. I think they finally fixed that. And also I have to sit through a lot of boring wrestling to watch.
Well, I mean, Stardom is usually, from what I understand, doesn't have the same pacing that New Japan
So
does.
maybe I would like Stardom. I don't know. I don't know what their service is. Despite being a partnership, they never advertised anything. Ring of Honor.
They didn't tell me. They didn't actually tell me how to get New Japan.
No.
Or Stardom. Or CMLL. You should have. The show is an ad.
Yeah.
You failed to advertise to me.
What else is new?
But I liked this. I really liked Tam Nakano. Like, of all of the people in this match, she's the one who stood out the most. I was very entertained. She did really cool stuff. She was very solid in the ring, and she was fun. Like, she is the memorable part of this match, and notably, I like Statlander and Willow Nightingale. So, that she stood out above them even, the ones I know already. Like, I want to see more of this wrestler. It's too bad I won't. Next up, we had Mariah May still doing her amazing gimmick. That is the right gimmick, which is stealing Toni Storm's old gimmick. Versus Saraya. And the match was like 8 minutes. It was a fine match. Saraya's just not... I wanted, when she first came back, to believe that she was just rusty and she would get back up to gear. I don't know that she has that gear anymore. And that's okay. Like, that's unfortunate because it's because of a medical issue that she never fully recovered from, but Saraya's just not as good as Paige was. And that's saddening to me sometimes. Mariah May is quite good. She's got really good, solid strikes. Mariah May also won this match. Any thoughts?
She stopped doing the voice, and thus I don't hate her anymore.
Which one are you talking about?
Mariah, Saraya's voice is that's what it sounds like.
Yes, that's what...
Mariah was apparently putting on a falsetto to be annoying on purpose.
Harley Cameron fits in with the Outcasts really well, as does Anna Jay. This version of the Outcasts is probably better than the previous version of the Outcasts. That's been mentioned on our Discord a couple times, and the person who mentioned it is completely right. This version of the Outcasts makes sense because it is Saraya and her goons, rather than 3 people who should all be stars. Then the last match of the pre-show is, I'm going to posit at least 15% of the reason White is upset at this show. It is some CMLL guys, I believe.
Well, okay, so traditionally, Penta and Ray are AAA guys.
Right.
They're working for AEW right now, which is why I imagine they're allowed on the card, because they're not actually with AAA, but they are traditionally from there. Místico is a CMLL guy.
Right, yes, that's what I thought.
And Los Ingobernables de Japón are NJPW guys, I believe.
But they're a faction of Los Ingobernables, which started in...
AAA.
Okay.
I believe. Because it was Roosh, and Roosh is not on this pay-per-view because he is a AAA guy.
He is currently with AAA, and thus cannot be anywhere near Místico lest someone gets shot. I'm not exaggerating.
However, this is still unprecedented, and I wish they'd build this match as being more important, even if it was still on the pre-show.
I feel like if the CMLL Visa thing hadn't happened, they probably would have done more build for this.
Maybe.
But the Lucha Bros put in a wonderful showing, along with Místico.
I think everybody did a great job here. I think Místico was maybe the worst, or...
Which isn't surprising.
Yoda Tsuji, maybe. I'm not sure. It was still a great match, and everybody did a good job. Místico's just Místico. Yeah, this was actually a really fun match. I don't remember much from it. It was a pre-show match, but it was good. Good spots, good action.
Nothing. They only had like 12 minutes, but they did a good job. The Lucha Brothers and Místico won. Good for them. And White is sad that Pento might be gone soon.
Gotta twist that corkscrew, huh?
I gotta mention it because then later when he's not gone, we could celebrate.
Yeah, sure. And I hope.
When he comes out in a denim and leather jacket combo, and he has trunks on for some reason, and he says in Spanish, "Cameraman zoom," and he has an AEW tattoo, you can celebrate like I celebrated.
They just work year contracts, and they have been this entire time. But I'm hearing the talk about it, and the WWE is doing very well, and Vince McMahon is gone for now. So, it scares me that people will make some decisions.
I think he's gonna stay gone at this time. I hope.
I'm not going to get political on this podcast. Hope. Anyway, so yeah, I don't have much left in this Fed if Penta's gone. I'll be perfectly honest with you. MJF's a generational talent, but here's a tip. MJF had a shorter match beating Hechicero in the Curtain Jerker. So
that's just because he's just coming back and they didn't have anything built for him.
No.
And for some reason they don't want him in the title scene.
Because you either job out MJF or you job out your champion.
That's fair. So he just fought Hechicero, who is cool as hell. The match was fun.
Yeah, I like Hechicero.
MJF won, obviously. Wasn't nothing to write home about. Not really much to comment on it. MJF, I believe, in the whole lead up to it, said exactly one sentence about Hechicero. And this is what I'm talking about. There is no story here.
There's nothing here.
So far, there's been nothing for any of the matches that we've talked about.
I will admit that the next match, the Acclaimed with Hiroshi Tanahashi versus the Elite, that is to say Hiroshi instead of decaying pillar of flesh Billy Gunn, and good call on that part. This was like story, but two problems. One, it's not the actual feud. The Acclaimed were just sort of inserted as today's WCW loyal baby faces here to stop the evil NWO, and it was a bad role because I hate them together. I hate Max Caster, actually, is really just, that's it. That's all. Anthony Bowens is sensational, and I love him. But I don't care. In fact, I was just rooting for the Elite. Non-ironically, I appreciate these guys as a craft. Squash these stupid fucking bugs. For once, the Corpos can win.
And they did. Corpos win. The People's Choice lost.
Yeah. Okada. He's still here, and I love him.
Okada is so funny.
He's so good with so little.
He's so funny, and like, he's funnier in his second language than I've ever been in my first.
His comic timing is sensational. He's everything I wanted Satnam Singh to be.
Well, he's not 7 foot tall.
That's okay. You can't teach that.
God, I wish we were bridging into a different match.
No, it's Shingo Takagi versus Bryan Danielson in part of the men's Owen Hart Cup tournament.
Now, this has a story in that it's part of the Owen, and it also has a story in that Bryan Danielson is a man staring down the barrel of the end of his career, desperately scraping and clawing, trying to find a victorious note to go out on. Shingo Takagi is there.
Yeah, like, unless you put a lot of effort into it, the first round of a tournament doesn't have actual story to it. The second round, certainly.
But, like, you gotta start somewhere.
You do.
I feel like this one counts as good story because the Owen is actually booked pretty well this year in terms of setup. Like, the bracket is interesting. They made me care about Jeff Jarrett.
That's Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah.
That's not them. That's not anything but...
They're the ones who let him do it and put it out on the internet.
That much is true. Amazing piece of work. Or shoot, as is more accurate. I would recommend you seek out Jeff Jarrett's Owen Cup tournament promo and enjoy. Bring it to you.
He's just really hot. So
I thought I was the queer one. Did we switch?
The joke was right there.
All right.
I had to take it.
Okay.
So
speaking of the queer one,
that's a good.
We did it. We got there, ladies and gentlemen.
We did it.
Oh.
My main event of the evening. The only match on this card I actually gave a shit about. The only storyline I was bought into. Timeless Toni Storm versus Mina Shirakawa for secondarily the AEW Women's World Championship and primarily the love of Mariah May.
This was a fine contest. I think I like Mina Shirakawa, although she confuses me. I am going cold on Toni Storm because I missed her last promo. I forgot to watch it last night, and so I didn't have that last part. She's been phoning in this entire build. It's been her catchphrase and like little else other than that.
He is right in that he didn't watch Tony's last promo, which is the reason that he is wrong here. She did a variation on the new Colossus, and it was great and excellent. She did it while standing on broken glass, which was cool. I mean, presumably not real glass.
I don't know. She's crazy.
She is. And then she entered. Her entrance was dressed as the Statue of Liberty, which is just a great 1-2 punch. And I looked into it and shit. That joke's got a lot of layers. And then the match was actually fun and good. They wrestled well together. They had good in-ring chemistry. Never a guarantee. Always nice to see it happen. And then the ending, love wins.
I didn't understand this storyline. And if I did, I didn't like it. It just feels very Raw general manager Eric Bischoff, if you take my meaning. Unless it's not, and then I just don't get it. It seems maybe weirdly self-indulgent in a way that I'm not... It's an inside joke I don't understand, even if I do get it. I wasn't there. I can't be a part of your system.
It's a great... So, I tried for like a long time to explain this to him last night. I think I've boiled it down to a simple, like, premise. So, on the Dynamite maybe right before this show, or maybe the one before that, I can't quite remember, there was a segment which was essentially fan fiction written by, I forget his name.
Oh, Daniel Garcia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
By Daniel Garcia, about Daniel Garcia and how all the big important guys love him and respect him and want to have rap matches with him and spend
members of
a
BTS
solid 15 minute
One
come
Direction.
out and suck him off.
Yeah, we're fighting over him. Right.
That-
I read that fanfiction.
Mina Shirakawa wrote this. Or no, I'm sorry. Mariah May wrote this. This is her fan fiction where she is Katniss Everdeen and Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa are the two hot boys that are both going after Katniss Everdeen. That's all it is. It's very simple.
And if that is what it is, it's fucking stupid. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I enjoy the film Practical Magic. I don't care. I don't... I got nothing here. I don't know. I don't know. Moving on to Orange Cassidy versus Zack Sabre Jr. 15.
I had a question. I haven't kept up 1-to-1. I might be wrong. Has Orange Cassidy lost this? Has he ever won a match against Zack Sabre Jr.?
I don't know.
Is the storyline of Orange Cassidy versus Zack Sabre Jr. just Orange Cassidy getting his shit pushed in? Like he's so much Wolverine and Zack Sabre Jr. is Zack Sabretooth Jr. and he just shows up on Orange Cassidy's birthday to fuck him up?
I don't know. This match was fine.
Oh yeah, it was good. They're always good.
It wasn't as good as the last one, I'll say that.
Like, Zack Sabre Jr. is really good, but he's not around all the time. And I can only like him so much when the only thing I ever see him do is beat up a guy I like more than him.
The other storyline I care about, the Learning Tree has been brilliant.
Yes, I don't... This is Chris Jericho. Once again I say, amazing work. From getting fully and completely worked to being fully and completely bought in, I am a branch on the Learning Tree.
And Big Bill has...
really come into his own.
Yeah, absolutely. He's such a good person on the mic now. I don't like Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb is the guy everyone tells me is amazing, and then I watch him and he does a big fart and falls over, and I don't know what... It's like a storyline between Mariah May, Tony Storm, and Mina Shirakawa. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what other people are watching that's so good. It isn't fucking this. He was fine this evening. They were up against the incredible trio of Samoa Joe, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata, who... I like all of these guys, and they have combined to make a great gimmick, a great angle they've got going on. I hope it lasts longer than I expect it to.
Like, I said this before, I will say it now on the internet. Samoa Joe and Hook and Katsuyori Shibata will remain a team until one of them gets bored and then they'll feud. That's the long and short of it.
Yep. Them winning makes me worried that this situation with the Learning Tree is going to degrade. But then again, it's Chris Jericho. So we should be fine. He should build his little stable of 47 guys, and
He'll have that for like a year. We'll get tired of it and grow to hate it, and then he'll broom it and do something else.
Yeah.
Now, note that third thing happens about 4 months after that second thing.
Right. One of the two matches I enjoyed tonight was Mark Briscoe, Konosuke Takeshita, Dante Martin, Jack Perry, Lio Rush, and El Phantasmo in a ladder match for the vacant AEW TNT Championship.
This had good story, good build-up. Mm-hmm. They did all the qualifying matches. They were all pretty cool, the ones we saw at least. And they picked the right guy to win.
And there were cool spots. Another thing I will give credit to this show, there was no color, except for like accidental, oop, I busted my lip color.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. But, you know, it made it an easier watch. I wasn't as scared for anyone's life.
So there were some parts of this ladder match that were not, that was spooked.
I don't care about Lio Rush, and I want him to go away from wrestling. Or stay in one place for at least 2 years and then remain in that place where he may continue to build credit.
But he has a 2-year debuff.
At least.
And every time he moves, the timer restarts and gets longer.
Yeah, I don't want to see him in AEW because he's nothing to invest in. He is a living forbidden door.
He is flaky.
As hell. And he's already injured, so, you know.
I can't trust him. I can't invest in him because I can't trust him not to fuck off. And you know what? At the end of the day, no hate to him. If you don't feel like you're being respected in your job, quit. That is the right and just thing to do. Corpos don't own you. You can quit.
1,000%. The problem is, though, I'm supposed to invest in you, and you've done this to me twice.
Yeah, like, there are consequences for your actions.
I believe a great man once said... You know, I'm not going to go into it.
That's the best. That's great.
Fill in the blank with whatever you want there. Jack Perry was the winner, the right man who won. On one hand, I like that because the right guy won. On the other hand, you could have just given him the title a month ago.
No, because this got them a month of content and then a cool ladder match. Right. What are you talking about?
But it also got us several promos from General Manager Christopher Daniels.
But it also got us Mark Briscoe a bunch of TV time.
You know what? The Mark Briscoe... Kyle O'Reilly stuff has been golden, so that's fine.
Mark Briscoe doesn't get that TV time if he's not in something relevant to do with AEW. So I'm very happy about this.
You know what? Fair enough. Sometimes you got to take with the good, with the bad. You take the both, and then you have Stephanie Vaquer versus Mercedes Mone. Winner takes all for the AEW TBS Championship and NJPW Strong Women's Championship. That is the most acronyms in a single match that I've seen this month.
Yep. Mercedes Mone, in a thing unrelated to her appearances on AEW television, has completely torpedoed my ability to give a shit about her basically ever again. She said, not even let slip, just straight up said in an interview with TMZ that she has creative control over her character. That's bad. That is Tony Khan not learning the WCW lessons. Someone needs to make him hold the reminder box. You shouldn't. And if you are going to give a talent creative control over their character, you don't fucking tell anybody.
Yeah.
Because that is bad. It's something that makes me not trust you as a booker. It makes me not give a shit about that person because I don't care about, as much as I joke about liking Mariah May's fanfiction, I don't care about you, the power gaming e-fedder who has an in with the guy who owns the e-fed and decides you're just gonna win all your matches. Fuck you.
I care about you, buddy.
Bitch, I lost so many matches I shouldn't have.
Yeah, that was a deep inside joke that was a lie. I liked Stephanie Vaquer. I did not give a shit about this match. This was the last match I was falling asleep during.
Yeah, I like Stephanie Vaquer quite a bit. She really has a great look. She has cool in-ring style. She's
very expressive face without being over dramatic.
Yeah, she's not overacting, but no. She's able to convey emotion really well.
I don't like Mercedes Moné's promos, catchphrases, or voice.
She's a fine wrestler.
She's a fine wrestler, and there is something to be said about her little dancey dance. I don't know. I don't quite like it, but the movements are fluid in a way that tickles something at the back of my brain.
I only see that gif of Hulk Hogan when I look at her now. I expect her to, after the match, after Mercedes Moné decided that she wins.
Which was the right call anyway.
Oh, yeah, look, if I didn't know that, if you didn't tell me, I wouldn't have been mad.
Yeah.
Because Stephanie Vaquer should not win this match.
No, this was obviously set up to get Mercedes the title that she got too injured to hold.
And for some reason just can't let go.
It's her hole. It was made for her.
And so, like, she absolutely should have won this match. If I didn't know that it was her call and nobody else's, I wouldn't be upset. But that I know that torpedoes my ability to give a shit about it.
You know, actually, let me preempt the comments here, as much as that's not wise, because we could use the comments. Hint, hint. NJPW is a commission. So, technically, they had to be on board. So, for this match specifically, there was at least one other person that was like, yeah, or one committee of people that was like, yes, that's fine.
That makes me happier.
I'm glad I could realize that.
But Britt Baker came back afterwards. She did her big return. She got a big cheer because Mercedes Moné was in New York and came out to the match in Celtics colors because she's playing a heel, even if none of you will boo her, like she's clearly asking you to. Boo her! That's what she wants! Why are you making her job harder? Anyway, and she got the boos she was clearly aiming for, and Britt Baker came back to big cheers for her big return. She will lose to Mercedes Moné, presumably twice. Once in a straight match and another in an I Quit match. I'm going to guess.
I hope she at least takes some bumps really silly.
Yeah, I hope so. Actually, Britt Baker, if you Shawn Michaels Mercedes Moné, I will buy a t-shirt. I will own a DMD t-shirt.
Yeah, that's pretty tempting, I'll be honest with you.
But the match ended, and then it was time for the next match.
Sure was. Look, that's AEW pay-per-views. They don't do promos. They do video packages now, and their editing is getting a lot better. But, like, it's not... There's nothing to let things breathe. So, it's hard to pee during this show. One of the things that I said going into this that I was frustrated about was that the show was predictable. And largely, the matches that weren't on the pre-show were extremely predictable.
He's caveating because he did a pre-show, he did predictions, and he did not do well.
No. In my defense, I didn't realize 3 of those matches were on the card.
And also, basically, all the surprises were on the pre-show.
And, it wasn't even a surprise, it was a coin flip. Oh, Jeff versus Steve? Who's gonna win? What's the story? Nothing. I don't know, man. Jeff. Oh, I was wrong. Well, I guess I'm bad at predictions. This, however, I was not expecting. I think it's an interesting call, even though I'm upset. But it was nice, because at least something happened. Jon Moxley went up against Tetsuya Naito for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship and lost.
Yeah, Jon Moxley lost the IWGP Championship pretty soon after he won it.
He had been defending it a lot, though, so there's at least that.
Like, as they said, only, 9 guys have ever held that title, including Jon Moxley. I don't feel like short reigns are the typical.
Well, it's a new regime over there.
That's fair.
So,
I just really wasn't expecting Moxley to drop this, and then he did to Naito, and...
Well, technically it was last Naito as of this recording.
And
you're stuck with me for another match.
And you know what you're stuck with? More Jon Moxley.
I know, yeah. Hey, look, I'm pissed. I hate this. I hate everything about this, except that a title actually changed hands on this show that was real and not the double title match. That's very interesting. And it makes Forbidden Door feel more like a real pay-per-view, not a spectacle event. It still doesn't get my buy-in because it was the title I'll never see again. But hey, it's something. I have to recognize the apology should have as many words as the symposium.
Something like that.
Yeah.
The match was also fun.
It was fun.
Yeah, it's a Jon Moxley match. You hated it. And the match was fun.
I will say he nailed his Special Boy moves really well. They looked like what they were supposed to be.
He was trying very hard.
Yeah. He put in effort.
He cares more about New Japan than AEW, I think.
Well, that is known. I'm pretty sure his promos in New Japan, he thinks about a minute at least before he records them. So, speaking of not thinking much about your promos up until maybe a minute before you record them, our champion, Swerve Strickland, goes up against Will Ospreay, whose name my autocorrect has no idea how to spell, in a singles match for the AEW World Championship. I hated this story. I hated this build. I hated this premise.
And you hated the match.
No, actually, I thought this was a pretty good one.
There we go.
This and the ladder match. Look, that's the thing. I don't like Will Ospreay because of the John Laurinaitis voice he affects that renders his accent like radio static. Am I listening to a car commercial? A country hit? Is this a baseball game? I don't fucking know. I can understand him perfectly fine when he's regular talking, but when he horse barks, I don't know what he's saying. And that makes his promos really hard to enjoy. Swerve makes his promos really hard to enjoy between his half-assed I'll make it up when we go out there script and...
I hate his jongler laugh so much. It actually has become like a tick at this point. When he does it, it upsets me. Like these noise triggers something in my brain that makes me a little madder every time it happens. And he's not. That's not intentional. They clearly thinks it's cool, and it's not. It's the lamest fucking thing. I really like Will Ospreay. I think he probably should have been in a different match on this card because the international title should have been on the line and someone else could have fought for the world title. I
agree.
He's came into this on an 18-0 winning streak. There really was all bad choices here. There was no good end for this match.
No, there wasn't.
Either you completely fuck over Swerve Strickland's reign after you coronated him, essentially.
Which is pretty funny because he's not as good as anyone says he is.
But I still don't want that for the title.
No.
I don't want that because it affects the prestige of the title.
Look, I was really sad when they didn't job out Cody Rhodes again at WrestleMania, but it would have been pretty funny.
And that's a great analogy because it wouldn't have been coherent storytelling to have Swerve lose here. But that means the only other option is Will Ospreay loses, and he's on like an 18-0 winning streak, and he's super over. He's white hot. He, by all accounts, should be the guy you're putting everything behind because everyone actually likes him. So like, there's no win here. This is bad booking because no matter how you end this match, you've done something stupid.
So I refer back to my original premise here. Also, the end of that sentence was, I don't like his promos, ... Will Ospreay always entertains me in the ring. He is a great wrestler.
Oh, they're both excellent professional wrestlers.
I think Ospreay's better, but they're both in the same caliber anyway.
Ospreay's absolutely better. Ospreay is so fucking good.
The man came out with Hayabusa tribute gear and in his movie, and I couldn't disagree with it, even though it was a bold thing to step yourself up to.
He had a pocket, but he's right.
Yeah, absolutely. I have nothing to say to you, Will Ospreay. Continue, go as you are. But this is a card. This is a show for the pub crowd, for the guys who are going to be like, my guy beat your guy in the big guy fight. So for the people who are Swerve guys or Ospreay guys, and will talk to Ospreay guys or Swerve guys, this is great water cooler talk.
Yeah.
And in that sense, yeah, you can't lose.
I mean, yeah, just as like I said, just as like MMA booking, this is excellent.
That's fine. It's not why I'm here. The choice they went with was Swerve winning.
Which, I mean, the right call. Swerve should have won this match. I don't like the finish because I don't like that finish.
I will say that most of the finishes to these matches I didn't like. Not just because, the guy I wanted to win didn't win. Most of the time I didn't care. But, Danielson versus Takagi was an unclear tap out. Zack Sabre Jr. and Orange Cassidy was kind of a wet, sudden submission. The ladder match was fine. Mercedes Moné versus Stephanie Vaquer was alright. Moxley versus Naito was like, did that just happen? It was like when the Undertaker lost his streak, except nobody cared.
A lot of the finishes were very sudden.
And underwhelming.
There's something to be said for that being a good thing occasionally, because it's good to be surprised, but a bunch of times on the same card, not necessarily great.
No. Now, I liked the non-screwy parts of this finish. I liked that they both kicked out of all of each other's finishers. When you do that semi-sparingly, it makes those moments feel really special.
They protect both those guys' finishers pretty well, so it doesn't quite feel like, oh, you're just shitty at moves. That's always the risk when you do that. But I feel like they threaded that needle pretty well.
Yeah.
I don't like this finish. I did not like this finish. Not because Swerve won, because Swerve should have won, but because I just don't like face wrestler whose job it is to beat people into submission for a living suddenly balks for a long time at violence.
It is in the same way that a lack of story destroyed my ability to buy in. Haha, that's the thing. And suspend my disbelief. The really long overselling of deciding whether or not to kill a man with a screwdriver man, me talk real good tonight, harms your suspension of disbelief, the undertrachea.
You know what? Maybe Swerve. Maybe we were too harsh on him. Maybe it's hard to do this live stuff.
Maybe it is.